Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to TransGuyReacts. My name is Nick and I make videos about women's basketball, collegiate or professional. And today I'm going to be talking about the WNBA games for August 18th. Sunday, August 18th. I can never remember what day it is. Before we get into the games, because there were several games today, I want to talk about the transactions that happened today. So for the Seattle Storm, they did release Kiana Williams. Doesn't look like they're re-signing her, so we'll see what happens with that. Monique Billings did get signed to a 7-day contract, her first with Phoenix Mercury. I was figuring out where she was gonna go since Odyssey Sims went to LA, which is what I thought she would go. I was kind of wondering where Monique was gonna go, and it kind of crossed my mind that it would be Phoenix. It'd be Phoenix or Seattle. So glad to see her there, and she was doing amazing today, and I'll get to that soon. Um, the first game of the day was on ESPN. It was the Connecticut Sun versus the Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream is coming off that crazy game yesterday against Seattle, but the Sun are typically like a better team overall, so I was kind of curious how this was going to go down. Very disappointed to see that the arena was way emptier than the other game against Seattle. I guess I don't know. Connecticut Sun's just not as much of a draw for the Atlanta crowd. Also, it is Sunday, and Sunday it was like early afternoon Sunday, and Atlanta is a very religious place, so I can imagine that people were at church like legitimately. But it was a good game nonetheless. Unfortunately, Cheyenne Parker Tyus did get injured in the first quarter. She went down holding her ankle, and it looks like she landed on Brianna Jones's shoe awkwardly, and she needed help to come off the court, and she did not return. They said she wasn't returning, so I'm worried about that. She might have like pulled something, tore something, so hopefully Cheyenne's okay. But it was a strong start for the Dream, but low scoring in that first quarter. But both teams were like committing so many fouls. It was pretty annoying. But the Sun committed more fouls, and the Dream ended up leading at the end by a couple of points. You get into that second quarter, Alicia Gray got a technical foul after protesting a no call from a ref, and Alicia Gray never protests on fouls, and the replay shows that she was right. So these refs, I don't know, they're petty. They don't they call the weirdest stuff. I don't. They're not consistent. Got a lot of new refs this season, and a lot of them have very low fuses. They are very emotional and will call any and everything. So, anywho, it was a very close game, but Dream are playing a lot better lately, way better than they were playing before the Olympic break. Tina Charles was playing amazing in that first half, and it was 34-38 at halftime. In the third quarter, the Suns started to kind of get it together, but the Dream were able to hold them off. Um, in the fourth quarter, the Sun finally kind of evened up the score, and get their first lead with like 8 minutes left. And I was like, ooh, Sun are working things out, and they were maintaining the lead, but they fumbled, and Dream came back. Tina Charles and Jordan Canada were just working so hard for the Dream, and they end up getting the lead back with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. And the Dream go on to upset the Storm 70-81, which I was ecstatic about because I'm just like, whew, they need some wins really badly. So the box score for that game, looking at the Connecticut Sun, Dwana Bonner had 9 points, 10 rebounds, almost a double double. Alyssa Thomas had 13 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Brianna Jones had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. Marina Mabry had 11 points, 6 rebounds, but she was in foul trouble. She had like 5 fouls. Taisha Harris was in foul trouble as well, but she had 12 points. And that was kind of it. Olivia Nelson-Adota had 6, and Dejanay Carrington had 4. They just weren't really, assisting with the score. And usually Dejanay plays really well, but she just didn't play well this game. Ryan Howard for the Atlanta Dream had 13 points. Nazma Hillman had 9. Tina Charles had 22 points, 15 rebounds. Crazy. The GOAT. Alicia Gray had 11 points. Jordan Canada had 19 points. So, that's crazy. And 6 steals. She had 6 steals. Wild. And 6 assists. So that pretty much helped get them over the edge there. The next game was on ABC. It was like 30 minutes. It started 30 minutes after the first game. So that was a little annoying because I had to watch both games at the same time. But that was Seattle Storm versus the Indiana Fever. Rebecca Lobo, Ryan Rucco, Holly Rowe were covering this game, as they always do when it's like on ABC. A lot of these new fans are really just want to see Indiana. So like I don't usually watch the games, and if I do, they're kind of just in the background because I'm like they don't need my view. They're good. All of these new stands from Middle America, they can have Indiana. Never wanted them. Okay, but anyway, it was an even game with Seattle playing slightly better. Most of the first quarter, but the commentators were like constantly talking about Caitlyn, showing stats, showing animations, showing pictures. It was just yap 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 yap. Caitlyn, 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 Caitlyn. The score was 17-13 at the end of the first quarter, so Seattle was up. They were playing exceptionally well, but it was just like all about Caitlyn. The second quarter, it was a pretty close quarter with a slight advantage to Indiana. It was 34-35 at the halftime. In the third quarter, Indiana is getting the advantage in this. There's a point though where Caitlyn gets upset over something. I don't know what she got upset about, but she hits like the backboard of the hoop, and the refs give her a technical. And I'm like, I this is what I mean by the refs doing too much. Like she was in frustration, and then she gets a technical. They just be calling too much. But anyway, Storm keep it close. It's still 58-59 at the end of the third. The fourth quarter, Indiana are able to get a decent lead and maintain it for most of the quarter, and then at the end they're able to extend the lead. So they end up winning by quite a lot, but it was all pretty much done in the fourth quarter. They just like turned on the gear. So Fever win this 75-92, and this is their first win, I believe, against Seattle this season. I think Seattle has won the rest of them, if I'm not mistaken. In this game, Neko Wumike had 14 points, 9 rebounds, 4 steals, 1 block. Ezzy Magmalore had 9 points, 7 rebounds, 5 blocks. Jewel Lloyd had 26 points. Skylar Dickens-Smith had 15 points, 5 assists. Sammy Wickham had 6 points. So it was a really good showing by Seattle. It's just the Fever just had a lot more gas in the tank, apparently. So Aaliyah Boston had 9 points. Low points, but she had 15 rebounds, so pretty good for her. Kelsey Mitchell had 27 points. That really helped them. Caitlin Clark had 23 points and 9 assists. 5 turnovers as per usual. She had 2 blocks. Look at her blocking shots. Lexi Hull had 22 points. That was a big deal because Lexi never gets any time on the floor. They actually let her play, and when she plays, she always plays well. So I'm just like, God damn, give her some fucking time on the floor. Anyway, Demiris Dantas had 8 points, so that's great. Her coming out there, and then yeah, that was kind of it. They actually let Victoria, Grace, and Christy play, and they didn't get any points, but they were only in the game for like 1 minute, so I don't even know what the point of that was. And Timmy seems to still be injured, I guess. The next game was on League Pass. It was Los Angeles Sparks versus Las Vegas Aces. This was kind of an awkward because this is the first game they were playing against each other since De'Erica Hamby dropped that lawsuit against the Aces in the WNBA. So I kind of figured that the Aces were going to come out for blood in this game. I was pretty confident in that. Also, Ari McDonald and Leisha Clarendon are out of the game for LA. I think they're injured, and then Cam Brink is obviously out because she tore her ACL earlier in the year. So, but the beginning of this game is an even start from both teams. LA is really long now. The Azare Stevens consistently back in the lineup. It's just an even game. They're going back and forth. It's 21-21 at the end of the first. They cut to Floyd Mayweather. Apparently he was at the LA game yesterday. He's at this Aces game. Apparently he has season tickets for the Aces, so he's a big supporter, which is nice. Appreciate that. Bring more eyeballs to the women's basketball game. In the second quarter, it was a very tight game, but the Aces do start to run away with it toward the middle of the quarter, forcing the Sparks to take some timeouts. And then the Aces are up by like 7 points at halftime. In the third quarter, Aces has the lead, but are in trouble a few times. Hamby is actually kind of quiet until this quarter. She's not really playing that well, to be honest. And Sydney Colson comes in and hits all them shots, giving us a show. I love when Sid is in the game. She doesn't get any time ever, but when she's in the game, she is very impactful, and so really love to see it. Again, with these refs, Asia gets a technical foul for bouncing the ball hard off the ground because she ends up fouling De'Erica Hamby. There's 11 seconds left in the quarter, and she's upset, so she like throws the ball down and it goes high. Refs give her a technical foul. These refs are so petty. Oh my god, it's so annoying. But anyway, at the end of the quarter, the Aces are up 11 points. The fourth quarter, Aces turn on the Jets. They go hard in that quarter. They throw down the goddamn hammer, and they win the game 71-80. Now, the sparks for that game, Rakia Jackson played fantastic. She had 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. She was playing out of her mind. Dearica Hamby had 13 points and 11 rebounds for a double double. She had a good night. She even had 4 steals, but that's kind of a quiet night for Dearica. So her not really showing up really hurt them. Kia Nurse had 12 points. She's been playing much better lately, more consistent. Crystal Dangerfield had 9 points. Ray Burrell had 9 points. So there's a lot of good showing from LA, but it just wasn't enough for the domination of Aces. So Jackie Young had 10 points, 1 block, 2 steals. Asia Wilson had 34 points, 13 rebounds, double double, of course, 5 steals, 2 blocks. Girl is just a beast. Kelsey Plum had 18 points. She was playing fantastic. Chelsea Gray had 8 points. Tiffany Hayes had 11 points. Yeah, it was just a really great. And then Sydney Colson came in and hit her 4 points. It was a wonderful game. Wonderful game for the Aces. The fourth game, or is that the fifth game? I can't even keep track. I think it was the fourth game of the night, the last game. This was also on League Pass. This was the Chicago Sky versus the Phoenix Mercury. At the start of the game, DT fouls Michaela Onyenwere pretty hard. They were like bumping into each other, and then Angel set a screen, and DT pushed into it really hard. So like pushed into Michaela really hard, and they went to look at it, and they upgraded it to a flagrant 1. But kind of funny because like DT is always getting flagrants in technicals. She gets at least 1 flagrant or 1 technical foul at least once a game. She literally has the most amount of technicals in WNBA history. So it's not surprising she had a technical last game. It's like she gets technicals. And then she ends up getting a second foul 6 minutes left into the first quarter. So 4 minutes into the game, she gets 2 fouls. And usually this is actually pretty good for DT. When she gets technical fouls or she gets fouled early, something like clicks in her brain and she plays better. So I don't know if she does this to herself, but Diana Taurasi is the GOAT, and she will make things work. So anyway, getting to the game, more fouls are happening though. Kennedy Carter picks up 2 fouls in that first quarter, which unfortunate, and so does Camila Cardoso. She gets up 2 fouls. But what was crazy is Monique Billings, who got signed this morning, played in the game today. So that was great. She came in the first quarter and played very well. And the Mercury were firmly in control of that whole first quarter. They ended that quarter 19-32. Ooh, rough. In the second quarter, Monique Billings is just doing all the right things in this first game. She don't even know any of the plays, but she's like making all the right reads, scoring, doing the most. Camila Cardoso picks up a third personal foul halfway through the second quarter, so she's already in foul trouble, unfortunately. At halftime, it's a pretty big lead for Mercury. It's 35-52 at the halftime. To note about the halftime show, I was not impressed with. It was the Supreme Cheer and Tumble group. It's literally like toddlers to teenagers doing mediocre cheer performances. The music was like very much DDR, Dance Dance Revolution on steroids, very, very fast. It's just like, but like pop music. I do not like these types of performances for professional women's sports. I can understand this happening at like a high school or like at a college. I totally be behind these kind of performances, but this is a pro league, and they keep having these really corny, very inappropriate entertainment. It's like it's very juvenile, and I don't appreciate it. But anywho, get back to the game. Third quarter, Angel Reese and Kennedy Carter go on a run to cut the deficit in half. But then Cardoso gets a technical foul. I'm not really sure why. There's no replay. I don't know. Maybe she said something probably, and these refs be in their feelings and given fouls. I was very disappointed with the commentators. It was Ann Myers Drysdale and I'm blanking on the other person's name. She also calls the Athletes Unlimited games. I can't remember her name right now. But the commentators were like, maybe Cardoso said something in Spanish. She's from Brazil. Say what? Ooh, that is just like a total like, oh my God, Americans, you are so stupid. We're so stupid sometimes. If you are from Brazil, you speak Portuguese, okay? You don't speak Spanish. That is a completely different language. It's so embarrassing that they don't know that she speaks Portuguese. Like, how is that hard to know? And most people know that, but commentators did not know. And said the most dumbest thing ever. Anywho, then Sophie gets a foul. Sophie Cunningham gets a foul for a moving screen when she wasn't moving. They show the replay; she's not moving. These fouls, these refs are so bad, and they're calling all the wrong things, and they're very like in their feelings about everything. Anywho, Kitty Carter also picks up her fourth foul in that third quarter. So it was just like a series of fouls, one after another. Within like a minute and a half of play, they're just like foul, 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 foul. These refs were like eager to blow the whistle. It was too much. At the end of the third, it was 50 to 69 points. Mercury are up. They're firmly in control. We go into the fourth quarter. Sky try to cut the lead, but Mercury are able to maintain control. And even Sophie Cunningham ends up getting her first career double-double, so congratulations to her. And the Merc end up winning this game 68 to 86, the inverse score. Whoa. Ooh, bad. Angel Reese actually almost had a 2020 game, which would have been the third time anyone's done that in WNBA history, but she just missed it by 1 point, which is so annoying because then I'm like, come on, Teresa, why didn't you keep, she there was like still like 3 minutes of game left. She could have got another 2 points and made that historic milestone, but she's young. She's probably going to do it eventually. So looking at the box score for this game, like I said, Angel Reese had 19 points, 20 freaking rebounds, 10 defensive and 10 offensive rebounds. Girl is a rebounding machine. And offense sells tickets, rebounds wins, actually, defense wins games, rebounds wins championships. So the rebounding is key. She had a little foul trouble too, though, but that's okay. We don't talk about that. Camila Cardoso had 12 points, definitely in foul trouble. She had 5 fouls. Kennedy Carter had 16 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and Isabel Harrison had 12.6 rebounds. And that was kind of it in terms of people contributing, for the team, and that is probably why they didn't win this game. They just didn't have enough firepower. As opposed to the Mercury, Sophie Cunningham had her first double-double, 13 points, 10 rebounds. Congratulations to her. Brittany Griner had 18 points. Diana Taurasi had 23 points because Diana Taurasi is a buck. Like, people be ragging on her, but she is consistently playing at the top of her game, even though she's 42 years old. Y'all, anyone who's hating on Diana Taurasi, you're a hater. You're probably new to the game and you're a hater, so it's fine. Monique Billings, first game in the WNBA, well, not the WNBA, and for the Mercury, signed her contract this morning. Does not know the plays. Had 13 points and 8 rebounds, 2 steals. What? Who do that? She just played freaking amazing. So she definitely helped solidify the win for the Mercury. It was a fun game. It was a very good time, I have to say. And it's just a lot. There's no games tomorrow, luckily. One day off because most of these players have been playing like every day, like back to back for the last 3 days. So I'm happy that they're gonna have some time off tomorrow, but then we'll start this back up on Tuesday. If you like this kind of coverage that I do, please like, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one.